Hey, welcome back to the Gill Athletics Track and Field Connections podcast, the podcast that brings you track coaches and track people from around the world. Super excited, and I know I say that every week, but this one's special. I've had some amazing guests on the show. If you haven't listened to them, please go back. Just some amazing men and women and people of this sport that you really should get to know better. But today, I've got someone super special. I actually have one of my teammates, a 14-year veteran with me teammate, almost 14 years. Help me welcome to the show, Miss Jennifer Vander. Jennifer, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
How weird is this that we've been working together for almost 14 years? I got a whole year ahead of you here at Gill Athletics. Did you ever think that I would be interviewing you on a podcast show?
No.
Why not?
One, podcast wasn't even a thing, I don't think, back in the day. And then two, we talk every day. So
yeah, this may be one where maybe I don't even publish this one. Maybe this just becomes just a archive for Gill Athletics here. So Jennifer, why don't you tell us, they've already seen your title. I think we're putting it as Director of Fulfillment.
Sure.
Why don't you talk to us and help us understand, what do you do? What do you do here? I know I ask you that every day when we come into the office, but Jennifer, what do you do here at Gill Athletics?
So I'm over the groups that take the orders, and then I'm over shipping that also sends the orders out. So I oversee a team of roughly, right now I think we're at 12 or 13 between the two. So it's customer service, when you call the 800 number, you get, that's my team. And then who's packaging the items as they go out is also my team.
So you're taking, when someone calls in and places an order or purchase order from one of our dealers or school comes in, you see that from there all the way to it arrives to the customer, essentially. Is that?
Yeah, because I'm also, even though I'm not in over manufacturing, I still have a lot intertwined with them. So yes, so I meet with them every morning, and we go over and make sure we're hitting deadlines and stuff like that. So really, I do see an order from start to finish, and hopefully get no callbacks for any issues on the way back.
Yeah, I always tell people, I'll sell you a lot of things. Perfection is not one of those things. So we certainly make mistakes here. And by the way, you got to remember, if this guy, me, if I'm the guy selling it, plenty of mistakes are going to happen. I'm just so needy for Jennifer to fix all my mistakes. So that's why I'm just so thankful to be your teammate.
You get one a year.
Oof, man. Let me tell you what, that goes out January 1. Right off the bat. What maybe some people that are listening might not understand. So we're going to reference Gill Athletics a lot, though, but actually, so where we manufacture in Champaign, Illinois, we have another brand called Porter Athletic. Talk to us about Porter, because you actually, you're not Director of Fulfillment over at Gill.
Correct.
You oversee the entire line. Talk to us about what Porter is, what kind of products, things like that.
So Porter is the basketball, volleyball, and outside equipment, like outdoor basketball and stuff. It also includes, when you go into a gymnasium, like at a high school or a middle school, you'll see curtains and stuff hanging from the ceiling. And so that's custom product is what we call it. But pretty much we ship from mass or football goalpost to a shot put, or technically, I guess, a little bag of spikes. So it is literally from ugly freight to something that, is put in an envelope and shipped out.
What is the smallest thing that we ship? Is it a bag of spikes? A spike wrench?
I would say safety pins. I'm amazed by people buying safety pins.
Let me tell you, as much as we build and ship around here, sometimes it's the little things that trip up the whole system.
Yes. Yeah.
So everything from safety pins for the bibs and spikes. What's some of the largest things that we ship out here? And when I say ship out, actually manufacture. We make 90% of the stuff that's in our catalog.
Right. So some of the bigger things are the football the football stoppers. So when somebody kicks a field goal, those things, those poles are over 40 feet long. And then the masts that go in gymnasiums are huge.
Right.
And so it depends on, what the gymnasium is going into, but very large items, very heavy, ugly freight. I mean, it's just ugly. It's just, you can't package it like Amazon packages boxes or anything. So it's really challenging on that side to get them out.
That's a good example. Amazon, you buy your dog food or your toilet paper and it comes in sometimes a big box.
Yeah.
But we're talking about things that are 20, 30, 40 feet long,
Yeah.
weighs, I mean, gosh, how much does a football goal weigh? That's not 1,000 pounds, but it's got to
It's
be
got to be close. Well,
several
yeah.
hundred.
But portables, so we do basketball portables, and
Oh,
they're about
right.
5,000 pounds each, and
That's a
so
good
it's
point.
very specific on how they have to ship.
Yeah. So while you may know Gill Athletics, we actually are the world's largest track equipment manufacturer. There's a whole side as equally as big. If you were to walk into your school's gymnasium, or what do they call an indoor facility, a field house?
Yeah.
And maybe you'll see ceiling suspended basketball units, or those curtain dividers that divide maybe the basketball courts from the outside lane, running tracks, things like that. Yeah, that's all manufactured here. Did you think, you've been here 14 years, and we're going to get into your athletic and coaching background. Did you think this is where it was going to end up, that you were going to be in Champaign, Illinois, shipping out safety pins?
No.
Okay, good. That wasn't the goal coming out
No.
of high school.
No. I enjoy it,
Yeah.
but it wasn't the goal.
Hey, we all have to do things, even coaches, right? We love to be in the sand, coaching jumpers and distance runners. Sometimes we got to do that paperwork, which is never any fun. We don't have paperwork here, do we?
Never. No.
Okay. That's usually what I get called in for, when I don't do my paperwork. So talk about high school. Let's take a step back here, because you actually have a really rich history inside of track and field. We'd love to learn more about that, and actually how it connects with what you do here at Gill. So talk to us. How long have you been doing track? When did it start? Did you start in high school, kindergarten? When did it start?
Started in 7th and 8th grade. I'm from a small town, about 500. And so sports is like what you did. So your parents worked, and then you did sports, and then, you met up for dinner. So I wanted to do anything but throwing. So I tried hurling and fell over a hurdle and got too scared.
Ho. I've known you it's been 14 years.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. I don't, that's not my memory bank, that you wanted to do anything but throwing, and you hurdled, that's my favorite.
Yeah,
thing
I
in the
know.
whole world.
Well, I tried.
You tried?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I did.
Spoiler alert, you ended up being a thrower.
I did. A decent one. So
yeah, right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So at that point, it's just trial and error. So we just went through it, and I tried jumping, but I don't jump. Tried high jumping, and we actually had the bag of mesh with the pieces of foam, not actually like.
No.
Oh yeah, it hurt if you hit between them.
You're not that old.
No.
I mean, you're my age. I mean, that's how.
Yeah, this would have been in early 90s. Yeah.
Was this just? Did they just not have the newest equipment, or? I mean, definitely we had. What we think of pits now back in the 90s.
Yeah. But
even in Little Podunk, Alabama, where I grew up in, we had a traditional foam and vinyl.
Yeah. Well, not just about 20 minutes from
Oh, wait a minute. Yeah, hold on. She didn't even mention this.
Yeah.
So this little high school that she's talking about, this little town that she's talking about, is within minutes of our factory right here at Gill Athletics. So you had no excuse.
Yeah, I guess not. Well, I was young. I didn't have it.
Why didn't you buy all this when you were?
I know. So I tried high jumping. My back doesn't bend that way, so it kind of went on. And then I'm a bigger girl, and so somebody's like, "Hey, try this." And so I'm like, "Okay." And so it just kind of went from there. So I did shot put mostly in 7th and 8th grade, and then I played all sports. Basketball, and I played summer softball and stuff like that. And so I was always in some kind of sport. And then when I went to high school, I didn't change that. You pretty much pick a sport for this season. So I did volleyball in the fall, basketball in the winter, and then track in the spring. I did that for 3 years, and then I gave up volleyball my senior year to, I don't know why. I'm not very good at volleyball. I don't have the control. So I'm good. It wasn't my thing. So
were you a middle or an outside spiking it?
I could spike it, and I could serve really well. But
I can see that.
But bumping, I had no control over where the
they were always aiming for you. It's like, I know she's good at serving, but get her right there.
Yeah, no control over bumping. And they're like, don't try it. The funniest part is they always say, like, just let it hit you. And it's like, no, I got power. Like, I'm gonna shake this thing off. So yeah, I gave that up.
You tried to serve everything, even what do they call that? A save or dig.
Yeah.
Even on the digs, you're like, I'm gonna send this back.
Well, probably the other issue is I can't throw myself on the ground. So volleyball, I would never, like, even during practice, they would make you do like the special, like, digs.
The roll.
Yeah. Oh yeah, no. No.
Does because we have volleyball and basketball and things like that, we have specialists in each one.
Yeah.
So our specialist here for volleyball is Shelby Howard, who was a great volleyball player for Missouri State.
Yeah.
Does she know this?
I doubt it.
As soon as we're done here, we're going, Shelby's right outside of our recording studio here. And by the way, let me know, hit me up on Twitter at Mike Cunningham. This is, Jennifer's special. So I went out and bought all new equipment for this. So I've got a whole new mic stand, new microphones, a mixer, headphones. If you're checking us out on YouTube, I upgraded for you, man. I went to the president and I was like, man, I need some budget for Jennifer Vander. So let me know. I'm hopeful in to justify this purchase. I need the volume to be better and the speaking voice. I need all the help I can get with my speaking voice. So I got the whole pop filter and the whole nine here. So where were we, Jens? To keep me on track. We do this every day.
I know. So we're in high school.
Not throw yourself on the ground. We're going to tell Shelby. Thank you for this. So added the volleyball. You said you did volleyball, basketball, and track for pretty much all 4 years. Did you have a favorite as you went through high school? Did it change?
I really enjoyed basketball. Again, being a bigger girl, when you rebound, Shaq was like my hero back then. Yeah. So, well, he still is my hero, but so like being that big person that rebounds, and I may have given a few black eyes, but like that was like, as a team sport, basketball is the best. Track, obviously, and throwing, even though it's a team sport, it's more on you. So, but I really used basketball to get in shape for track. So that's what I used it for, and we were decent. I had good teammates and stuff, and so it was fun.
So give us the spoiler alert. What were your PRs coming out of high school in the shot and the discus?
I think like 153-ish in the discus, and I want to say 46-1.
Okay.
So unfortunately, those I still have the records at St. Joe Ogden, where I went to high school.
Pretty good records, though.
Yeah.
Now, I have the school record back in my high school in the 4x8.
Really?
And it's not good.
Oh.
And it's still there. So that one should be beaten.
Yeah.
40. Come on. Anybody listening right now who has either coached high school or is coaching college would say, give me a 46 and a 150 all day.
Sure.
They recruit that all day. They would coach that on the high school level all day. So it's okay if that's still the school record. So super stud coming out of high school. Go back to when you first started. Were you natural at it? Like, did you throw 40 in the shot right off the bat, or how did the development go? So
I did what they called the Ogden shuffle. I'm from Ogden, Illinois. So they called it was like a sideways shuffle. And I really didn't like the discus at all. So then they decided to try to do rotational shot put, which actually back in my day was not very common, especially for a female thrower to do, especially around this area. I don't know anywhere else, but around this area it was not seen. And so we started that really my sophomore year, and I wasn't very good my freshman year. And then I actually went to state in shot and discus. I was only doing the half turn in the shot put, and I won the discus as a sophomore.
Wow.
In high school. It was not very good throw. It was awful.
Back then it was 2 classes for Illinois. A or double A?
A. We're a small school.
But still many, especially throwers came out of the single A in Illinois. So it's not like, it's only 2 divisions for crying out loud.
Yeah.
So you won your discus your sophomore year.
Yeah.
So it came pretty natural?
Yeah. Learning how to rotational shot put in the shot put really helped my discus. I didn't like it that much in the shot put. I don't know why. I don't know. Maybe it's because it's so bored. I don't know. And then really my junior year and my senior year, I really got the hang of it and kind of just took off. And so I saw huge gains from it once I did it. But I could never glide. I did the shuffle. I tried to glide. It wasn't, I guess, natural to me.
Coordination issues, or
I don't know
balance?
That I just didn't, I don't know. Just rotational worked better for me. So, and I don't really know why they tried it with me, but it works. And so I thank them because, more things come out of it. So then I went on to win state my sophomore or my junior and senior year in both the shot and the disc.
Wow.
Yeah.
Man.
And then I set the discus state record, which was broken finally, thank goodness, my junior year. So,
Okay. Well,
yeah.
you keep saying them. Who were some coaches that
Sure.
helped?
Yeah. So, Jerry Herodine was at the high school. He was our shop teacher. Great guy. Still talk to him and stuff.
Is
He's
that
awesome.
right?
Oh yeah, he's
Oh,
sweet.
wow.
He actually is a sub teacher he retired, but he's a sub teacher at the high school. So I have two boys, and so
Yeah.
he'll see one of them that's in the high school.
Wow. Is
and
he coaching at all anymore? Or?
yeah, I don't think he'll ever retire.
Is that,
He's
of
always into
course.
something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Good for him.
And then every year I had a different throws coach during high school. I think it just depends. So I had John Woods, who was actually a basketball coach that helped me one year. Keith Pogue, that went on to Mahomet Seymour. He coached me
I know that
a
name.
year,
Yeah.
and then I had somebody else in there too.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, everybody was great and stuff.
You mentioned a coach every year.
Yeah.
I would have thought you'd had the same
Mhm.
coach, because of the development.
Right.
You think, did that hold you back, or did you learn new things every time, or what?
What you don't know is my mom's a drill sergeant. So
okay.
my mom just pretty much told me, like, you're going to put in the work. And so I just, I practiced and I practiced.
Mhm.
And I think once you start to see some success, like, you want to do it more. And so I always, you want to win. I don't know anybody that doesn't, but I wanted to win. And so I made sure I put in the time. But honestly, I only did track during track season. I did not do a summer clubs.
Camps and
No,
clubs.
I did not get outside coaching, like a specific coach for that. And I know that's popular now and stuff, but no, I mean, I did track during track, and sometimes was late if basketball went over, and just, kind of transitioned into it.
Because back then we didn't have YouTube, which is still one of the
Yeah.
greatest tools for a coach, a beginner to intermediate, for crying
Yeah.
out loud. So you didn't have any videos. I mean, it was literally just call it 2 to 3 hour block, maybe Monday through Friday, because you had basketball and things like that.
Yeah.
With your coach. That was the only instruction.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow. That's crazy. I mean, thinking about today, I hear about, the clubs, and there's, throws only clubs, and every video in the world is out there, and podcasts like this that talk about how to throw coach throws better. That's really phenomenal.
Yeah. My high school coach, Mr. Herodine, coach, we call him Huey, was very big into sprinting. So I used to run the 200 at meets.
Wow.
Yeah. So we didn't just throw. And so we would usually I would do half the workout of, like, the sprinters. So if they, whatever they were running, we would run half and stuff. And so we were actually a very quick throwers group, because they would do like I don't know, I don't want to call it the heavy man. I forget what they call it, but
I'm pretty sure that's what they call it.
do they? Maybe. I don't know.
Throwers 4x1,
Yeah,
heavy
yeah.
4x1.
We would kill it, just
Yeah.
because I think we're all overall athletes, and not just what people think of a thrower is. So it was fun. I, loved strapping on spikes, and we had center track when I was in high school. So running running on a center track and kind of going on.
I feel like I'm talking to a 60-year-old former thrower, not the same age as me thrower. I feel bad. What you mentioned, you said you guys were pretty good. So did you have a throw squad? Like, you threw 46. Did you have another person throwing 40, which is still a great throw,
No, not really.
Yeah.
I think when you're from a small school, then you pretty much do the same thing. And so that's really where I first heard about Gill, because there was a girl that was older than me. Her dad was the IT for Gill. And so he would bring out discus for us to try. And so that's when my first discus I remember throwing was this hot pink Gill Saturn.
The Saturn used to be hot pink?
Well, we had a hot pink one. So I don't know if they sold it or if it was something we were making, that kind of thing. And so he would bring discus for us to try and stuff. And so that's how I even knew what Gill was.
But certainly went from your high jump hit.
Yeah, no, that thing didn't have a brand. Are you kidding me? It was just whatever foam that cut up from probably the wall mats or something.
Right.
But so that's how I knew originally about Gill. And then I continued to throw Gill through college also.
Yeah. Did you have a favorite discus when you were throwing?
So in high school, I loved that Saturn like it was my, I wish I
hot
had
pink
it.
one?
Yeah, I wish I had it still. And then Pacer Gold is what I threw in college.
Yeah.
So
I
yeah,
remember a mutual friend of ours, John Gadina,
yeah,
when he visited, he always talked about the Pacer Gold was one of his just kind of just an all, standby, old faithful,
yeah,
consistent. Yeah,
yeah,
that's pretty cool.
yeah.
That's awesome. So you mentioned college, and obviously you're
Hmm.
throwing 46 and 150. You're going to have a lot of choices to go to college. Talk to us about the recruiting process, and actually before that, talk about when did you think, oh, I can go to college and throw for track? Was that an early thing? You won state as a sophomore. Did you start thinking automatically then, or did it come later?
Um, no. So I'm from a single parent. And so it was just my mom and I, my older brother. And I mean, really, we just did sports to have something to do. And so we weren't staying at home. And towards the end of my junior year, we started getting calls, but my coach here and I was very good at, I think, kind of not letting me know. I didn't even know this was a process. Nobody in my family had went to college.
Oh,
All were from here, stayed here pretty much. And so, I mean, you talk about college, but I had no idea if it was a possibility or we just go to community college here. So,
right.
and then the phone started ringing. So that's when you still had landlines. And so,
What are those?
yeah. So my mom put it into effect because she didn't want it. I love my mother, but she made sure that one, it didn't go to my head. And so I could only take calls during certain times at night for a couple hours,
Good for her.
and then set up some other rules, which
Mhm.
was awesome because I think, I'd never seen anybody go through it. I'd never heard of anybody go through it. And so people would call and ask me questions. Like I remember getting off the phone and I'd be like, they asked me if I had a boyfriend. I'd start laughing and I'd be like, why would they ask that? My mom's like, well, because if you're going to move away, that all plays into it. And so
Mm.
I don't know how my mom knew all this stuff or, kind of what she went through to do
Mom,
it.
come
I
on,
know.
you're a mom
I
now.
know.
Just the instinctual
Yeah.
momness. So can you remember, and let's not name names,
Sure.
that person's probably going to listen to this. Can you remember your very first recruiting call?
No, I actually have kept, my mom brought me a thing, like a big, like not Tupperware, Rubbermaid kind of
Yeah,
thing,
yeah, yeah.
and she kept like, I think the first letter that people had sent me from
Cool.
different schools. And so I could see like what they said and stuff. And then, at the beginning it was from everywhere. So, D2, D1s, and at that point I didn't even know what that really
I was gonna say,
meant.
did you even know
No,
that? Right,
no.
right, right, right.
And so then once we started talking, and then I don't even know how it came up, like people just kind of started to explain to me like what was going on and things. And so we kind of just took it step by step.
So you don't necessarily remember your first phone call, but can you
Mm-mm.
remember the emotion that you felt when people started calling? They were they were paying attention to you,
Yeah.
giving you attention. They wanted you. Do you remember that at all?
Yeah. I've never wanted attention. And so I've always I still do. I do what I do and kind of
Mhm.
move on. My mother always told me to treat it like a job. So do your job and move on kind of thing. Like we talk about it when it happens, but let's not drag it out and
Right.
stuff. And so I think she just kept me down to earth. I mean, I played sports, but I also worked full on the weekends, full time, like 16 hours and stuff to help pay for things. So, I mean, I wasn't, I didn't have free time. So it was either school, sports, or working. So that was my life. And I really didn't think I understood it until like they asked me to visit. And I was like, whoa, what's this? You get 5 visits? I'd never been on a plane. I'd never been away from my mother. Like this is like different stuff.
Now you are roughly, call it a half hour. It's within inside of a half hour of the University of Illinois,
Mhm.
though. You'd never been on campus at
No.
Illinois. Where was the state meet back then?
Eastern.
That was your trips then, right? Was to go to Charleston for the.
Yeah, that was
That was
it.
really the only time.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you
And
knew
we
that.
didn't stay. I mean, we just went and for the day and then came back and drove back and forth.
Oh, you didn't even.
No, because it's about 45 minutes to an hour.
Still though.
Yeah, no.
It's supposed to be the big. That's your first trips is maybe the state meet, but no.
Yeah, no, it was another day.
Wow. So
Yeah.
the first school started saying, "Oh, yeah, you get 5 visits. Would
Yeah.
you like to visit our school?" And you're like, I can't afford that, or I've never been there.
Exactly. And so then people explain like, no, they pay for it. And I was like, they pay for you to go? Like,
Little suspicious.
yeah,
isn't it?
like,
Yeah.
how does this work? And so I only took 2 visits. I didn't take all 5.
Okay.
I took a lot of phone calls and kind of narrowed it down, and then kind of went from there. I mean,
what were you, did you, you're so naive to the process. And again, back then, it's interesting here in 2020, we have kids that are still very naive to the process.
Yeah.
But all they got to do is Google it.
Right.
Somewhere out there's a website
Right.
that runs through all of this. I just know there is.
Yeah.
Back then there wasn't.
Right.
So you couldn't even Google this. You're very naive to that whole process.
Yeah.
So was there something you were looking for in a school?
I don't remember that I was. It was more of, money played a part in it. It
Because
had
of the financial background.
Correct. Yeah. And so it was really, what can they offer you? Is it the right fit? That kind of thing.
Any idea what you wanted to major in at that time?
Oh,
or
no.
Still.
No. Yeah. I mean, it was, I was 17 and had no cares in the world other than, to win state that year and kind of move on and see what's going to happen.
So you took 2 visits.
I did.
What 2?
Arkansas and Indiana.
I mean, that's 2 pretty good schools. And it does seem like maybe you wanted red in your school. Maybe that was a big deal there.
Right.
And if you're watching on YouTube, you've already seen her background over here. So maybe you got a clue of where she picked for school. So you went to Arkansas for a visit, and then you went to Indiana University for a visit, and ultimately you chose
Indiana. Yeah.
Why?
I think it was most like home. It's a beautiful campus. We went in the fall, so that was a done deal. But it also was close, and so again, I had not been away from home. So to have to be somewhere that was 8 hours or more drive, or have to be by a plane, was scary to me. And so,
did you fly to Fayetteville?
Oh yeah, out of Champaign in our propeller plane. For my first flight,
but into even smaller airport probably back then. I don't know, Champaign Airport, pretty small back then, still now. But the NXO, I think it is Northwest Arkansas. And you still got like an hour to get to Fayetteville. What did you think on your visit to Fayetteville? Who was the throws coach back then?
I believe, I think it was Karen Bodie at the time.
Okay. Lance was probably the head coach.
I believe so, yeah. It was a beautiful, even back then before they redid it. It was beautiful.
Oh, right. Yeah. Lance Harder, great guy. I love him to death. He was just on the Meeting of the Unknown Minds podcast this past week. I guess by the time this airs, a couple weeks ago, but you should definitely check it out. Lance is an awesome, I know he's upset that you didn't go to Arkansas. That's what I know. He's just a great.
He'll be like, who?
No, not Lance Harder, man. That dude, he's good, man. Let me tell you what, he's really good. So you end up going to Indiana University and the throws coach there.
Wow, it just slipped my mind. Randy Heisler, I'm so sorry.
For her.
I know, I'm sorry.
Because I know the impact Randy made on her, and Randy and I are good friends as well. So Randy, if you're listening, I'm
so sorry.
Terribly sorry. She just made fun that Lance wouldn't remember who she is, and then she dropped the ball on remembering your name. So Randy, I'm just talking to you right now. I'm very sorry for my teammate here and her lack of memory.
I apologize.
So he made a big impact on you.
So there's a funny story. He came to visit my school, and it was homecoming week. And so back then you would have opposite sex day. And so that's what we did around here. So his funniest story, he would tell it to, when I was in school, to everyone that came to visit. So he's like, I go to the school in the middle of, corn towns, and he goes, I walk up and I see like this beautiful girl walking in front of me. And so he says, I say, excuse me, like, gonna ask where the office is, because at our high school the office wasn't like right in the front. You had to kind of walk through, and he said they turned around and it was
some dude with a mustache
with a goatee with a wig and like a short dress on. And he's like, so then I show up. I know he's coming. I show up because it's opposite sex day. So I have my grandfather's like way too big bib overalls. Yeah. So he said that he would go back, and they're like, is she good size? Like, and he's like, I have no idea. She had like these bib overalls on.
She looked like a farmer. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. So that was the funny story, was he was like, wow, like, and then they turned around and was like, it's over there, like this deep voice, and it's dressed up like a girl. So it's funny.
Well, I wore my red shirt
Yeah.
on purpose to represent IU. I actually have a little bit of a history that
Yeah.
as well for IU. Very close to my heart. Very was instrumental in my coaching career
Yeah.
as I went through. So how was it at Indiana? I mean, you're right. It is a gorgeous
Yeah.
campus, great facilities,
Yeah.
awesome coaches. You had one of my mentors, Marshall Goss, was
Yeah.
there. Sam Bell was
Yeah.
there when you were there. I mean, just amazing people.
Yeah. I loved it. I think it played into who I became and how I look at things now and stuff like that. There's just a difference of being a student athlete at the college level. I mean, high school is one thing, but there's just responsibilities and stuff that in you're representing a big college, So I wouldn't change it for the world at all. Yeah.
What'd you end up majoring?
I have no idea. I don't know. So this is
Hold up.
this is a hard topic
You got
between
a
you.
Big Ten education.
I do, yeah.
At an academic school, by the way.
Yeah.
Indiana's
Oh yeah. Yeah. I'd have to go
shabby
look at it.
You don't remember
I
your
don't.
major?
No. So I went in thinking I was going to be a teacher. So this is
I
kind of
can
how
see
we
that.
turned. Yeah. And then my sophomore year I was taking, first 2 years you take pretty much whatever. And they're like, you probably should go like shadow a teacher. So I was like, okay. So that was part of the, a class I went and I came back. I was like, oh no, like I can't do that. So I was
Where
like,
is the change your major form?
I was like, I don't even know how I'm going about this, but I cannot be a teacher. I cannot deal with other people's kids.
What was it? Like, what happened in the class?
I don't know. I was like, oh, like I know what, like you think you know what teachers do, but I don't even remember. I came back from it and I was like, no way.
But immediate reaction.
Oh yeah, I was like, no, not for me.
That impactful was that. Thank goodness you did that.
Yeah. Yeah. Because I would know what my degree was in, but I would not be happy with it. I still wouldn't be like, what are we doing?
Do you have a degree?
I do.
Okay.
It is in a box somewhere in the nice little red folder that they give you, but yeah.
You don't have yours up on the wall?
No.
Man, I never thought I was going to get one.
Yeah.
And I graduated from the greatest university in the world.
Of course you did.
Yeah. Everybody who listens, I mention Troy University every time.
Good.
So
beautiful campus as well. I've been there multiple times.
Gorgeous.
Yeah.
Thank you. That's right. We'll get into that. I never thought I was going to earn one of those things.
Yeah.
So it is up on my wall. Let me tell you what.
Yeah.
Mostly so I can say, see, I told you, when someone questions if I really did get a college education sometimes.
Yeah.
So India, so how did throwing go? Now, Randy Heisler,
wow.
one of the best throws coaches. First of all, one of the best people.
Yeah.
But an amazing, amazing throws coach. You guys had a squad.
We did.
Let me tell you what. How did your development go? And what nickname did you earn?
So when I started, I really had not been in the weight room. And so
interesting.
I went there and that's like the first thing they did is throw me in the weight room, and which was fine. And so literally I changed my body so radically from weightlifting that when I came home for Thanksgiving, now I'd made some trips and stuff because I was only 2.5 hours away. Literally my mother stopped, like made me sit down and it's like, what are they pumping you full of? And I'm like, nothing. Cause you only read what the news was. I had put on 50 pounds of muscle.
50.
Yes. Yeah. So
in 3 ish.
Yeah. Yeah. So I went in, I think every like athlete has a competitive weight, but I never thought mine would be like 50 over what I was in high school. And so,
I mean, you had to, to fuel that.
Yeah.
That's a lot of, like, you had to be just eating, working out, throwing and going to class. Like, there was no time for anything else.
No, that's what we did. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, so my mother scares me still. And so literally before, when she dropped me off at college, she's just, she was a single parent. So she was very, let's get it done kind of thing. And she said, treat this like a job. They're paying you to do something because I got my school paid for. She's like, and don't screw it up. And I was like, yes, ma'am. And so I just went full force for it. So I think we had indoors. So that was new. I wasn't used to having 2 seasons, didn't know what indoors meant.
Did you have to do the weight throw right off the bat?
That'd
be a new event.
Yeah, that was a new event. So we started with that, so we did that. And I think I'm going to say I surprised people because I qualified for indoor nationals my freshman year.
In
shot put.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So wasn't expecting it. And so it was in Indianapolis at that time.
Very cool.
And so we walk into there, like I had a successful indoor season. We walk in there and I was like, I'd never been into that facility ever. Like we just didn't do
Up
that.
the road.
Right. But never saw it.
Yeah.
And literally was like, my whole town could fit in like one little section. Like I was done. Like no way. Like how am I? Like,
That
yeah, it
right.
was just overwhelming because I never been to anything that massive.
But
Yeah.
you're at Indiana.
Mhm.
So you've had close to just as important meets. I mean,
Yeah.
obviously you went through Big Ten. That's
Yeah.
a big meet.
Yeah.
You host your own
Yeah.
fairly big invitations
Oh, yeah.
there. I assume maybe
We had great meets. Yeah.
Yeah, I assume maybe you went to one.
Yeah.
with-
Couple.
Meaning not the host, one of the ones that you
Yeah.
hosted, but maybe you went to the Tyson Invitation. I don't know if they had it back then, but you went to
Yeah.
like you traveled to
Yeah.
a big meet. But going up the road,
Yeah.
is it an hour?
Yeah, roughly. Yeah.
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 That
Yeah.
spooked you, if you will.
Well, I think it was like you're down in the middle and you look up. I'd really never been into a stadium.
Mm,
And so it was just like, wow, why am I here? Like, how did I get here? And it was just, I was like, wow, I can't believe I am here. Like, how did I do this kind of thing? And so, yeah, didn't do very good.
I was about to say, I
Yeah.
hate to ask. How
I
did
don't
it
even know what
go?
I did, but I'm telling you, if you're like, you walk in and you look up and you're like, oh my gosh, my whole town, like I've never been, like you're
Right.
done. Like I just, I couldn't get out of
Wow.
my own head,
I
but
can imagine.
yeah.
Well, I can a little bit. I grew up in not as small a town as
Yeah.
you, but it's a small town, 8,000-ish people. And when I took my college visit, not for athletics, I was not any good, to Chicago.
Yeah.
So the people that picked me up at the airport, we were driving on 9094 to get to the
Mhm.
college campus, and we got into a car wreck. Two
Oh.
semis were merging, and my little host on his Yugo, no exaggeration,
my
it was a
goodness.
Yugo, he thought he would gun it. Well, then the car in front of him was slowing down, so he had to stop and swerve. And
Yeah.
it was a Yugo. I don't know if I brought that up. Yugo, yeah. So we're on the side of the road waiting for the cops and the maybe the tow truck or
Yeah.
whatever, and takes forever. It was in rush hour traffic at lunch or whatnot. And I remember as I was waiting good 45 minutes for the cops and stuff to come, cars are just streaming by,
Yeah.
constant cars. And I remember thinking, more people have passed me just now in this 45 minutes than are in my town.
Yeah.
So I had a little bit of that, like, oh my God,
Yeah.
I'm in Chicago.
Well, so that kind of plays into what my nickname was. So there was
Yeah.
another Jennifer on the
This is the
team on
best
thrower,
nickname ever.
and they would call me Country Mouse because
Country
I
Mouse.
I speak a lot now, and I get heard a lot around here, but I really didn't talk when I first got there.
What cracks me up is
Yeah.
that anybody from Bloomington, Indiana would call someone else country.
Yeah.
I know there's a beautiful campus there,
Yeah.
but Bloomington,
Yeah.
Indiana is country. Let's,
Yeah.
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 So you were country right off the bat. Were you country mouse?
I would think pretty much. I mean, I just did as I was told, and
As you gained 50 pounds of muscle, did they call you country Mighty Mouse?
No. No. But yeah, so that was what I don't really think I don't remember talking a lot, maybe even saying a whole lot,
can see
really my first year in college. Because I mean the culture shock was huge to me.
Because of people?
Yeah. I mean, I grew up K through 8th. It was the same 15 people in my class. My high school, our graduating class was probably around 100. And that was 3 grade schools coming together to make one.
Wow.
And so you really, unless your parents took you out, you didn't really see a whole lot.
Right.
I got a little bit because I worked retail during high school. And so you got some of that, but that's not like living it. And so, I never had a roommate. So that was different when I started.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. So I think it was just literally, it was like dropping me into, I don't know.
Like a Chicago. I mean, because
Yeah.
you're seeing someone new every day, multiple people
Yeah.
new every day in
Yeah.
a campus like IU.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you ever get deterred, like, oh, I messed up, I need to go back home? Or
No, well, not really. Like I went through it. I had a little rough time after my sophomore year. But hear these words still to this day from Randy. I walked up and he knew something was wrong. And I was like, I think I might want to quit. Like I was ready. And I remember he looked me straight in the eyes. My mother had worked at Kmart for, I don't know, she's worked there for 30 some years. And so he looked at me, he's like, so you're going to go home and work at the Kmart? And I was like, and it literally hit me like in the gut, like, okay, my mother has, she's done what she's done for me to make it better for me. That's not what she wants me to do. And so I was like, okay, like tuck my tail between my legs. Let's get this done.
What a great lesson for a coach who knows what button to push.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow.
And my junior year was my best year in college. Like literally just came out like on fire.
So what did you, I mean, you talked about your freshman year right off the bat in indoor, you qualified for nationals. I think that indoor Division I national championship is one of the hardest meets to make in the world. I mean, it's, so I know it's not Olympic trials going to Olympics, but
we had Tessa Thompson at that time, and SMU was a very big throwing school at that time. So there was huge names. Like now, back then I didn't realize that, but now I do. And I made outdoors too. So I went to Buffalo. And so
I went to Buffalo.
Yeah, so we were both there.
Yeah,
so
it's freezing.
So this will tell you why they called me Country Mouse. So we're on a plane on the way, and I look over to Randy. And I was like, "So are we going to see the Statue of Liberty?" Because I knew we were going to New York, but I had no clue. In retrospect,
she wasn't a geography major. She doesn't know a major, but we just took that one off the list.
And so he had to explain that. New York's a big state, and it's on the opposite side. And so yeah, I just honestly, I lived in a very sheltered life around here. And so to take me out of it, was big. Yeah. Huge.
I've read the book Country Mouse, City Mouse. So now I'm starting to understand. It's like, oh yeah, Country Mouse. Well, Country Mouse was the homebody in that story. City Mouse came and didn't understand why they were doing all this stuff.
Yeah, I was the opposite. Yeah.
You were the country mouse in the big city going, where is the hay? I don't see hay.
Yeah. Yeah. So so I made nationals in the shot put indoor and outdoor every year, but my sophomore outdoor year.
That was the year you thought you wanted to quit.
Yeah.
Okay to ask, what was going on sophomore year? It seems like
there was some stuff that was going on at home, and some changes and things. And so I think at some point you just get into your own head. Really, I think that was a pivotal point in my life. Really him just kind of saying, hey, that's not what your mother wants for you. It was pretty much what he said. That's how I took it anyway. And then really just like, okay, let's go. We had recruited 2 spectacular throwers at a high school. And so really fighting for a position and do you want to be number 1 on the team or not? And that kind of thing, plays a part in it too. And so, we had a really good throwing squad at IU. And so it helped push everyone to, get better and do better.
And really, you did have an amazing throw squad.
Yeah.
Really, that time for Indiana, what a major squad in, I think, every position. I can think of, I got to work the camps during the summer. That's how you and I actually met, which was still so funny that when we finally realized that. But you had Danielle Carruthers and the hurdles. I'm missing out.
Rose Richmond was a long jumper.
I would say there was long jumper. Yeah, Rose was a stud. I mean, just an amazing. You had a stud half miler, if I remember correctly.
Yeah,
a squad.
Yeah, we won 2 indoor Big Ten championships and 1 outdoor. I was there
when I got hooked up with Marshall, and I was a fledgling coach at that point, and we were talking about just coaching in general. This is where he became my mentor, talking about how to recruit and why and how to coach and why and things like that. And he talked about how at Indiana, if the ultimate goal is to win the national championship, he goes, well, if you can't win Big Ten, you can't win nationals. And he, at least back then, it's different scoring systems and stuff now, but his stated goal to me was, hey, let's focus on Big Tens. If we can just winning Big Tens, we'll be a top 10 squad. You need just that much firepower to win it, and you'll be top 10 at nationals. And then the crew he had, Wayne Pate, Ned Bethia, the 2 distance coaches, Judy and Dr.
I don't remember. I can see his face, but I can't remember his name.
We didn't hang out with distance guys very much. Judy is shocked right now that I remembered her first name. She's a great person. She was really good friends with my former boss, Sue Parks. That's how
great friends with my former boss, Marsha Wentworth.
Oh yeah. Judy
Bogenschutz.
I was just about to say Bogenschutz. And then the guys distance coach was a big time. Like he did a lot of studies and stuff
Yeah.
with USATF. The Jeffersons, John and Sean, the twins, came up after you. I
Yeah.
think that was a big deal. Anyway, we could reminisce about IU honestly the whole time. I mean, yeah, I got to work camps there every summer. We talked about that on the podcast with Eric Kramer, now at Wisconsin Lutheran. He was one of our campers there. Another camper, Molly, is an assistant coach at Ohio Northern now. I mean, just, man, we had a blast. And as we were sitting in between sessions one day, I went over to the 3 stud throwers for IU, Jennifer, Krista, and Heather. Did I say that right? Yeah. And introduced myself, and I was enamored with throwers and coaches or athleticism and things like that. So I'm like, oh, what do you throw and distances? And they're naming these just like I couldn't even imagine throws that far. Back then that was my first couple of years coaching. And little did I know, one of those 3 was Jennifer Brown.
Yes.
Who became Jennifer Vander, who became my teammate at Gill. How cool is that? I got to know you. I shouldn't say I got to know you. I met you when you were a sophomore, junior. Yeah. Wait a minute. I just started putting 2 and 2 together. That wasn't your sophomore year. That wasn't the reason you were going to quit, is because you met me and you're like, oh, that's what a coach is. I don't want to go down this route.
No.
Oh, it's literally almost got scared there. So, what were you thinking? I know you don't know what your major was. We know geography wasn't it.
No.
Was coaching like a post-collegiate career, whether it's throwing or a profession? What was your thought? Did coaching enter your mind at all?
A little bit. So we had talked about me continuing to throw after college, but I was done with school. So it was like, so what do you do kind of thing. And so I did put out to try to see if I could get a throwing coach throwing position and see what was out there. I enjoy that part. I'm very operational kind of mind. And so I really enjoyed, in college, I got to learn how to look at videos and break things down and stuff compared to high schools, like just do it and throw far, and so I enjoyed that part. And I enjoyed track. So it's like, how do I keep doing this? It's been such a big part of my life. And so I was fortunate for someone to give me a shot. And so I ended up at UCF with Marcia.
So before we get in there, you brought up a good point. What were your marks? So we talked about, 46 on 150 coming out of high school. What were your marks coming out of college? And what did you try to take steps to keep throwing, or is it
right?
That's the toughest thing in the world, to go from college to the next level.
So in college, I'm trying to think. So what was the questions? What was my farthest throw?
What were your PRs?
I don't know off the top of my head.
Did you throw over 50 in the shot? Can you remember?
Oh yeah, I was like 53 something.
God.
So at one time, they've all been broken. I'm glad. I owned the indoor shot put record at IU, the weight throw record at IU, and the hammer record at IU.
Holy cow! We're not talking about St. Joe Ogden records here now. No. We're talking about Big Ten. Big time throws tradition at Indiana.
Yeah, I won a few Big Ten championships in the shot put. I wasn't a very good discus thrower. I don't think I'm built like a discus thrower. I'm more compact, kind of. My mom calls it a brick house, kind of just shaped like that. And so I did discus, but it wasn't my love. I like to grunt and throw heavy things far. So the weight I loved it. It was fun.
But that's rotational.
Yeah, different. Yeah, so everything was in. Yeah,
you got the feel for rotation. Then
yeah. So so those have been broken, which they should be. And so I had a good career at IU.
Did you try, and what did that look like to throw post-collegiately?
So I did as I coached. So when I graduated college, I was 21 and had no idea what I wanted to do. I'm young, on the younger side for my classes or my age in school. So I moved to UCF by myself. And there was a couple girls that were older than me on the team, which was kind of weird at that time.
That's funny.
Yeah. And so I come in and I'm like gun ho. I had a great assistant coach that kind of helped keep me going in throws. And I did throw in a couple meets. And then life happens. I got married, and then it's like, do you start a life, or do you keep doing this? And so I decided to start, being married and, have kids and do the wife thing.
Did you ever say yes when he asked you to marry? See,
No.
this is what you get when you get a teammate. I know all the insides here.
Yeah, maybe not at first, but I love my husband.
That's
What
right.
I'll say.
Jeff is your husband, and
Yeah.
what an amazing guy. What if you want to talk sports? Let me tell you, there
Lord.
is no better guy, and it don't matter what the sport is. I think,
Yeah.
although you could be there for days, weeks, if you start talking about Bears and such.
Yeah.
But, what a great guy. He's so awesome. You guys are so awesome.
You'd have to be to put up with me. I'm a very
I didn't want to
controlling
say it.
person.
I didn't
So
want to say it,
he deals with me well.
So you mentioned UCF. So for those who don't know those initials, University of Central Florida.
Yes.
That was the position that you got
Yep.
out of college. And how long did you spend down there?
6 years.
Yeah.
So
and mutual friend Marcia Wentworth.
Yeah. Started there, 18,000 no benefits. That was my starting. Yeah.
You want to go to college coaching, folks? Make sure you heard that part. She started not too long ago, by the way.
Yeah.
$18,000 and
No benefits.
no benefits.
Yeah. Yeah.
Dude.
It was the right move.
How do you live in Orlando for that?
I lived like a student. So I pretty much, where you rent a room and you have common areas. So that's what I did. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So like you have your room, but like you share a kitchen and, that kind of stuff.
Communal or
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they were like in townhouses and stuff. Yeah. Orlando's can be cheap, but it just depends. So
It's a big city. It's not, St. Joe,
Right.
that kind of
Yeah.
pricing for apartments and
Yeah.
Insurance and stuff like that. I assume you probably didn't have any insurance.
I didn't for that year. Yeah. And then the next year, Marcia decided to keep me. Thank you. And, things then went on and stuff like that.
Right.
But yeah.
So what do you think, what was your interaction with coaching in relation to what you knew of coaching? So you being the actual coach, how did that compare to what you've seen with Randy and high school coach, things like that?
I probably went into it too intense. You have to remember that some people are there not to be like the job thrower, like I had put into it and my thinking. So really in the beginning, that's my first thing. It was, how do I connect with each of these athletes? We only had a women's track team there. And so it's like, how do you connect and figure out what their why is, right? Why are they there? Are they there just because it's fun, or, they want to see how far they can throw, that kind of thing. And so that really was my first step. I think it was maybe easier because I was so close to their age and just coming out of it. And really for the first year I was throwing still. So they would see me do it, and what I was putting into it and stuff like that. And then when I decided to hang up the shoes, then it was really just seeing, we were with the Atlantic Sun Conference, and UCF was had won multiple
What years was this?
01.
Okay, so this wasn't in the 90s.
No,
because UCF was also in the conference of Troy University, and we won a lot of titles. That's where I was trying to get at. Her boss, Marcia, who I'm sure, Marcia, you're listening. We love you to death. She's now at Cal State Bakersfield.
Yeah.
Marcia, and I'm gonna say me, but it was my head coach, Bob Plant.
Oh yeah.
I mean, used to not get into it. We were all, cordial, but
intense.
I would tell you, it came down between UCF and Troy.
Yeah.
Nearly every year on the women's side, of course.
Yeah.
And then when I left, that is when I think UCF started winning more. I get it.
Yeah. I'm sure that's what caused it. Yeah.
I'm sure.
You were the missing link for Troy.
That's all I got.
That's all I got.
So, maybe. So you're at UCF, you're coaching throws. How did your coaching develop at all? So, it's much different from your first year. Maybe you're recreating a lot of things that Randy, who obviously and should be very influential in your style, to you start gaining your own style. Maybe you learn from other coaches. How did that development go?
I think good. I should say. I think you just figure out what you have to deal with. Like UCF was building up their campus at that time. So when I first got there, the weight room was very small and they were known more of a football team. I mean, everybody's known for football really, but, and then they started building up their facility. So really it changed like what was at your fingertips while I was there really changed drastically. We had a great, weightlifting coach that, came alongside. They had great, medical, like their trainers and stuff. And so everything was there. It was just, I think the biggest thing was not realizing each athlete as their own. And that's really, I've taken that throughout even here, because when you have team, everybody has strengths and weaknesses. And so it was really figuring out, I can't turn everybody into a rotational shot putter, right?
Oh, right.
But let's look at what they can do. Some people can do things, maybe physically they can't get to that position. Well, how can we fix something else to kind of get by that? And so I told you I have a very operational mind. And so it was really just breaking down each person. And I really had great throwers there. And some that won quite a few conference championships in the throws and stuff. And so it was successful. I enjoyed it, but you're on call all the time. And
Yeah.
so it was fun. It was fun for the time that I did it. And then you kind of realize, is this what you want to continue to do or not? And so I had to make that choice, which was fine. I don't regret it. And I'll dabble sometimes in helping because people still know who I am, and especially when you move back to where you're from. And so people ask me and stuff. I more get questions from people like, I think, like, what did you do to get noticed and stuff like that? That's what a lot of questions I get now.
Like for recruiting?
Yeah. And
Did
so
you say throw far?
yeah, pretty much. Yeah. And so I really enjoyed UCF, and we grew as a family. My husband and I, we had both of our kids down there and stuff like that. So, and Marcia, I miss her. I haven't seen her in years and stuff. And we, I can keep up with her on Facebook and stuff and things like that. But her and her husband, Jeff Wentworth, really just took myself and my husband,
Awesome.
like, under their wings and stuff and things like that. And it was a great way to grow up. Cause really, I was 22 to, I mean, that's time to grow up. So.
You did 6 years there?
Yeah.
So obviously Randy was an influence over you. Marcia becomes an influence over you, maybe not in the throws, but just in professional. Did you pick up any other mentors or coaches ed type stuff during that time?
I'm trying to think. I mean, you get to know people in your conference. And so Jacksonville was in our conference. So Bambi was there. She was a great collegiate thrower also. Absolutely. And so you kind of just see each other and you talk to each other and stuff like that. And
did you guys throw against each other?
We would have to at some point. I'm not for sure. But
Oklahoma grad.
You're right.
So probably would have saw her at nationals and such.
Yeah. But I think you pick things up from everywhere kind of thing and go from there. So.
And so did 6 years there and then came back here to home, to St. Joe and Champaign area.
Yeah. So we had a change in my family. My husband had a failed back surgery. And so I had 2 little kids and no family. And so we had to make a decision. So we moved back here to kind of figure out, he's from Wisconsin, to figure out where we would end up. And so I was putting out job applications everywhere and still in coaching also, because I didn't want to go away from that. If I mean, you make a good living, not the first year, but you grow into it and stuff like that. And so I came and I interviewed for a job here in customer service for Gill. And I also was supposed to leave that weekend to go interview for a throws job in a different state. And so somewhere in Ohio. So, so Gill called me on Friday. I was supposed to leave, I believe, Saturday morning. Gill called me on Friday and offered me a job. And I remember calling my husband. I was like, oh, like there's 2 paths, this is, not on call all the time. At that time I had a 6-month-old and a 2-year-old. And my husband recovering from what he was dealing with. And so I was like, and he was very supportive. He's like, no regrets. You have to make a decision. And so I called.
And you thought coming here was a pit stop.
Yeah.
So the goal was not necessarily to
No.
come here. It was
Right.
to collect our thoughts and everything, and then maybe go somewhere else.
Yeah. Because I was applying for jobs in Wisconsin. We just knew we had to be around some kind of family for assistance due to our situation. So Gill called me, and literally I think I called back in 2 hours, and I was like, okay, I'll take it. And they're like, well, when can you start? I was like, is Monday too soon? Because
did you really?
I had never been like, even though like I had started work when I was 15. And so I worked all summers and stuff too. In college, if you were, during my time, you couldn't work if you were on a full ride. I think they've changed that rule now, maybe. But being a college athlete is a job. I mean, it takes up your time. So I'd never been not working. And so like from the time we left Orlando and we got here, I didn't work for a month. And if anybody knows me now, like I can't sit still. And so it would drive me crazy. And I was like, well, what are we going to do? Because a family of 4, I moved in with my mom and my stepdad in a 2-bedroom house. And so we were, and so we were, I thank them for taking us in. Thank
God
goodness.
bless mom in this whole story, by the way.
Yeah. And so we knew we couldn't do that forever because, we had 2 babies and stuff. So we had to make a decision. And so I went with Gill, and I'm glad I did. I mean, it was the right move. It's been great, in moving on with that. So I did miss coaching the first year. The freedom of coaching is really nice. Maybe never wearing real pants through most of your day is really nice.
We do require that here, yes.
Unfortunately. And
some of us, not all of us.
Not all of us. But you had freedom to come and go, right? And you had practice. You were outside every day. Yes, it rained every day in Florida about 3:30, but you knew, right? You kind of dealt with it and stuff. And so it was a change in mindset. Like, and I remember Steve Volstein, who is our grand poopah here.
Yeah, right across this wall, right over here is the big daddy.
I remember him say, like, are you truly done with coaching?
Oh, yeah.
Because I believe they had other coaches think they were done and then went back to it. And I was like, oh no, I'm done. Like, I have to be done, And so it stung for, I think, really it stung for about 9 months. But then, it was just Gill then. And so you hit track season. And then I realized that I was a different part of being part of track instead of being on the field and stuff like that. So
how so?
Because you got to live. What's wrong? What do you need?
No, I just want a Skittle.
Oh.
Wasn't supposed to throw it, but whatever.
Oh.
See, when you have teammates, I can have Skittles. Brought to you by Skittles.
Because even though I wasn't on the track, we get calls from mom and dads, we get calls from coaches, we're the experts. And so I was still able to talk about what I loved. And having the background that I had as an athlete and stuff, when somebody would call and be like, what discus should I buy? Then you can start talking your talk, It's just a different way. Track people talk track, right? And you don't have to know the right verbiage and stuff. And it's like a community. So you're still in that community, and that's a community I'd had forever. So I didn't want to lose that because that's part of, who you are also. And so I still enjoy that even now is, we didn't have track last season, but before that, it's nice to be able to, if a parent calls and asks for recommendations, to give them the right, because I really want everybody to succeed. We're not, doesn't matter if they're from Kansas to,
Right.
California. We are the experts. So I want to make sure that we get the right info out there and stuff like that.
There's that geography lesson again. She could only get Kansas to California. All you East Coasters, she doesn't know who or where you are.
Hey, Rhode Island is beautiful. I've been there.
She didn't put Florida.
I didn't even put Florida.
So at that point, when you started here at Gill Athletics, if I did my math right, you had been involved in track and field for about 16 years.
Yeah.
I mean, that's in your DNA.
Yeah.
And at all levels, from beginner, like you just started, picked up a shot, didn't even know probably what it weighed when you first were throwing your first couple seasons, maybe up until you're throwing at, NCAAs and making All-American and setting school records at Indiana. It's just your DNA.
Yeah.
So talk to us about, there's a lot of expectation on what people think we do here at Gill Athletics
Sure.
Versus what we actually do.
Yeah.
Did you have any interaction with Gill as a coach?
I don't remember. I can't say yes or no.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So you didn't know anybody?
No. Well, so I didn't until I started here, and then I realized I did know people. So,
Okay.
you know,
But no one you, like you didn't have a Gill
oh,
guy.
no. Yeah.
That was my experience. When I coached, I had a Gill guy.
Yeah. No Gill guy or gal.
Not even me. And so what did you think maybe the job was going to be when you first started? You started out as in our customer service team. Yeah. And what did it actually become in that same role? So you thought you knew what it was going to be.
Yeah.
What was reality? And maybe they were the same.
Oh, I mean, they were, I mean, when they interviewed me, it was like data entry and stuff and picking up phones and stuff like that. So I knew it was a desk job, you know, which was fine. I was the pretty face as you walked in. You saw me first. Poor people. There was plants in front, so we're good. I didn't know. I think the biggest surprise was the people that I work for, if that makes sense. So you think, I mean, Gill's a company, right? It's a big company. And so, but it felt really small when you were working because everybody was so close. I mean, you literally could, you know, go and talk to accounting if you needed to, or we saw David every day, you know, that kind of thing if he was in town. And so that's the part I didn't expect, because I think in my head, I was expecting it to be, trying to think of something like Nike. You don't call and ask to speak to the president of Nike, right? Which is not how David runs his company. So that in my mind was a big, like, whoa, wait a minute. He's the owner and he's here. Like, how does that work, kind of thing? But, you know, it was great. I actually, when I started here, I did know a couple. One I had went to school with, one I had thrown during the same time. And his dad was a coach around here, a very successful coach. So I knew him and stuff like that and things like that. So it kind of just helped, you know, you kind of walk in and you kind of like, oh, I'm kind of like the stepchild, but I'm gonna work my way up, kind of thing. So,
and she's, you know, you hear her mentioning David. David's our president and CEO here, who also was a 4-time, I'm pretty sure, All-American pole vaulter at Baylor University. So, you know, the track DNA runs through and through in a lot of our people here. So you did customer service for quite a while, did a really good job there. Somehow you did not allow me to drag you down. You didn't try to quit after your sophomore year that I'm aware of anyway.
No, I think I moved to sales my sophomore year.
Was it second year?
Yeah,
So you moved into the sales department, which is very much, especially back then, very much aligned with our customer service team. Was in the sales department for quite a while. In fact, I think if I remember correctly, I think one of your first big jobs was St. Louis University.
I think so.
John Bell, the head coach, still the head coach there. He's on the Meeting of the Unknown Minds podcast as well. So I was on their podcast about a month or so ago and got to make fun of his bald head and everything. But, you know, just a huge shout out to John Bell for trusting us. It was one of your first big gigs, man. That's a big deal when you get your first big, you know, the whole facility, a new facility. It's a big deal. And then you were afforded an opportunity to become the customer service manager.
Well, supervisor first, yes. So, but move over into customer service again.
So what was that like? Because that feels more like you're going from an assistant coach to a head coach. You know, you're over a team. There's different responsibilities there. How did that compare to some of the other, whether it was a sales job or your assistant coaching job?
Right. I did not like the sales part very well. I don't think I am, my mindset's not that. I am a people pleaser, kind of get it done kind of thing.
You know, I'm just taking notes here, by the way, because what she's saying is that we're not get it done type of people.
That's not what I meant.
What else did she say? Keep going. I'm just making a list.
Sales is a different way, right? You're talking to people. Okay, so let's put it this way.
You hear her digging her hole.
The country mouse came out again. I do not like meeting strangers. I am not one that goes up and introduce myself. Unlike if you've met Mike Cunningham, no stranger. He will come up and probably already knows something about you, even though you don't know him. So
I think she just called me a stalker.
completely different.
This interview's over. We're going to pull the plug.
just different mindset. I'm very, let me help you. Let's, that kind of thing. And so, customer service role really was better suited for me. And then I think, the coach in me and the, want to be, like a winner, kind of just help kind of figure out what it is, because, we had a small team back then, and, well, we're small now, but, we, it was getting people on board and stuff and things like that, and figuring out, how we could become better, and, really take the customer service, to what we thought it needed to be at Gill. And so, it was fun, because I was given pretty much, hey, if you don't like your team, get the team you like, from the head. And so, I ran with that, and, kind of just made it my own, and, work with other, departments and stuff like that. So, it's almost like we're like a little team, like a throwers group, but customer service. And then you kind
That's
of,
a good way to put
you
it.
have to break in and get to know your distance
Yeah.
runners, or your, those different, departments and stuff like that. And so, I think I really just take into, even with my team now, is you got to get to know them, and why they show up every day, and, what their strength and weaknesses are, because
It's interesting. You talked about that you're not necessarily really good at walking into a room of strangers and
hate it.
walking out and knowing them. However, if someone, and I'm sure plenty of people that are listening right now have actually spoken to you on the phone,
Sure.
I would have said the exact opposite. It's actually kind of an interesting discussion about styles, right? Where,
Mhm.
face to face or on a phone or through email, the
Yeah.
communication style. But you do such a good job when you're talking with customers and our dealer network that's out there. I mean, you would think, talking to you on the phone and working with you that way, that you would be the type of person that could just walk into a room
Mm.
and walk out knowing everybody. But that's not the truth.
Yeah, so there's a work me that coming, have to be the leader and stuff like that. But pretty much when I go home, my husband will laugh, like I still take control, but very more just
I was wondering where you're going with that. I was like,
very much just more relaxed, that kind of thing. I think with customer service, there's such an urgency to it that you have to be on top of things, and get things done, kind of thing, because that's what the people deserve, our customers and dealers and stuff like that. So there's definitely two sides. I love talking to people on the phone. I have no issues with that. I just, I'm not a person to person kind of person. I just don't, I don't know how else to put that. I don't, even before COVID, do not hug. Like, I'm just not, I like my personal space. So the phone I can hide behind, and it's great.
there is a long running joke here about trying to give Jennifer a hug. And, as you hear that right there, I want to make sure that goes loud when I edit this. She is not a hugger. Some people are, I'm a hugger.
Yeah, you are.
I am.
Yeah.
I'm a hugger. If you have seen me, whether it's at the convention or a track meet, if we know each other even just a little,
Oh yeah.
I'm probably going in for the hug.
Yeah.
That's just my style. That's why I connect with people.
Mhm.
You are
Mhm.
not.
Yeah, this 6 feet thing with the mask on, don't touch.
That was made for you.
It's my world. Yeah.
But the opposite is true, that you are so good on the phone. What's interesting is, you earned the responsibility to oversee our customer service team back then. What aspects, whether it's from athletic or even as a coach, do you pull from that? You mentioned a couple, but can you think of anything else that maybe you pulled from that helps you with that team?
I think as a leader or a coach, you have to be level. You can't let your emotions get into it. It's very easy to let emotions get into it, but it's business. And I think even at the coach side, I mean, athletes are great and stuff, but you got to keep it at the business level. You can't let it, be personal and that kind of thing. And so that's a really hard thing to do, and not to take things personal if somebody doesn't throw as far, or somebody cusses you out, like, you got to make sure that you are confident in yourself and what you're doing. And there's going to be people that don't agree with you, but if you believe it and your team believes it, attitudes are contagious. And I believe that across the board is, if I come in and I'm happy and we go get them, and everybody's going to stay up and happy. If I'm having a bad day and I'm poo-pooing around, the energy is going to go down. And I'm not trying to make myself this big person, but I think it's even on teams. If your coach is yelling and just upset and irate, people are going to start to have negative attitudes. And so I'm a firm believer in things might be going on in the background. And it might be bad or it might be good, but we need to, every day is a new day. We got to take it one step at a time and do it with a smile on our face. Because there's so much that you can't control, and you have to learn. I say control. I get in trouble for being a controlling person, but I always tell my team, like, only worry about the things that you can control. If it's outside of your control, there's no reason to get upset and throw a pity party or get irate. Like, let's just only deal with what we can control. So I try to come in with a good attitude, and I love working. If I wasn't happy when I stepped out of my car in the parking lot, I wouldn't be here. But I enjoy it. I really do.
We get to talk to just amazing people on this podcast, some amazing
Yeah.
coaches. I'm thinking of the Judd Logans
Oh,
and
yeah.
Harry Maras, and gosh, I mean, just so many some amazing coaches. And we talk a lot about, when you talk about coaching, what you're really talking about, and it becomes pretty evident when you listen to these people, is you're talking about leadership.
Mm-hmm.
And I love that line you said there, that attitudes are contagious. And you were giving us in the positive example of, like, hey, if I come in here and I control what I can control,
Right.
do what I can do, serve where I can serve. But it also, unfortunately, works negatively, right? Like,
Yeah.
you come with that bad attitude, it's everybody else's fault,
Yeah.
those kind of things. So that leadership that you show, which is cool because it affects our team.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they're the ones that talk to the majority of our
Yep.
customers, right?
Yeah.
They talk to our coaches and our dealer partners and our sales professionals that are out there. That contagious attitude you're talking about is spread through them, and then it keeps going. It kind of grows. It's almost like that coaching tree. You get those coaches that have assistant coaches that go on elsewhere, and it keeps growing.
Right.
Just an amazing attitude, even though it would not translate in person for you.
It would not. I'd be scared at the corner over there.
So you become the customer service supervisor, which becomes customer service manager.
Yeah.
You did a great job of really changing our customer service team, growing it, evolving it. Healthy things grow. I don't know if you've ever heard
No, never.
famous guys say that, right? That's our CEO's mantra. Healthy things grow.
Yep.
And you certainly helped grow the customer service team into a juggernaut. What a powerhouse customer service team we have here at Gill Athletics. And then recently, as we talked about when we first started today, this director of fulfillment. So this goes beyond the phone ringing and answering it and things like this. You have some daily interactions with our manufacturing team. You oversee the shipping, which I always tell people one of the most frustrating parts of our job is the shipping aspect. You lose control. You put it in the truck.
Yeah.
You give a little kiss and a little prayer. It's like, I hope you make it, buddy.
Exactly.
That trucker doesn't have the same care about that vaulting pole or that hurdle or shot put that we do.
Right.
What has been your experience? You've been in this new title, this is a much larger role for
almost a year.
A year? Yeah. Not 2 years, a year. What has been any challenges that you've come across with that, or positive aspects?
I really got to see the other side of it. I think everybody thinks that their job's the most important in whatever team they're on. And so no matter how healthy your company is or whatever, when things go bad, you start pointing fingers. And so I think the biggest thing was, having people that deal with it as it comes in. I always say, if we put crap in, crap comes out. And so, it's just really, I think, because it's the first thing the customer, really, we're the first, my customer service team is the first people that people deal with. But then when they get that box, that's the last time they deal with us also. And so that team is very important too. And I think at some point it was never conveyed to them that, hey, like, when you get that, we just got a box delivered, right? And it's beaten up. Well, we're not saying shame on UPS or whoever the company is. We're saying, I can't believe they sent it out like this. And so it's really just thinking about the end user, and the last thought about Gill Athletics or Porter Athletic is how they receive that package, right? And if it's damaged, well, we probably get some choice words that we wouldn't like. If everything's good, we're not going to get a praise, but that's how it should be. So that's great. But it should be where it's never a thought of, I can't believe they sent it out like this, right? And so the hardest calls that I take is vaulting poles. We'll pick on vaulting poles because they're long and skinny. Is when you get that call on the other side, and it's the coach and stuff, and they've ordered it, and the guy, that kid is excited. They're going to use that brand new pole or brand new disc or whatever it is, and they've been waiting and waiting. And then it shows up and they've ran over the end of the pole. Right. And then it's like, well, we can't overnight a pole. I could, but you couldn't use it. And so like that makes me sick to my stomach. Yeah. And it really, I think, I want to own that part. I can't change how trucking companies work, but is there a better way we can send it out from here? And so it's really just looking at those things and figuring it out and stuff like that, because I really want that athlete. I was that athlete. I think all of us were at that athlete at one time, where how exciting was it to get something new, right? And then you can't use it. And it's like, oh.
You mentioned earlier, you're a people pleaser. Does that come from that side of it? Making sure the athlete and the coach is pleased. Like, man, you ordered something, you humbled us and trusted us with your money. Yeah. Well, we got to give you the value and the implement or the equipment. Yeah. And then someone else outside of our hands drops the ball. Right. Yeah. And because I think, you only have so many competitions. You only have so many opportunities, and definitely seeing that now. Yeah. Yeah. And now that opportunity that you might have missed, you could have PR'd, and stuff like that. And so it's just making sure that everybody has taken full advantage of what they can. And I don't want it to be because of how something shipped or something got entered wrong and stuff like that. That stuff irritates me very, very, very much. It's just a pet peeve of mine. Well, as someone who shares office space, you're in the office right next to me. I hear it. Let me tell you what, I would not want to be the UPS driver that messes up. No bueno, no good. So we get a lot of questions, nearly a daily basis. Yeah. I'll try not to over exaggerate. Weekly for sure. I get personally, just me, so I know everybody else is too. I get reached out by a coach. That's all I do every day is talk to coaches on a daily basis about, working here at Gill. I always explain to people, it's kind of like Disney World for track coaches. When they, I don't know about you, but when they brought me in for my interview a year before you, I have seniority on you. Always remember that. I made it a note to make sure I mentioned that I had seniority on her on this podcast. They brought me in for my interview, and they showed me the pole vaulting room and making the poles and making the hollow wood discus and the hurdles and all this kind of stuff. And it was like Willy Wonka's track and field factory. Yeah. I mean, and anybody who's been here to visit, that's the number one thing they say. It's like, oh my God, I had no clue you made this way. That's so cool. It's kind of neat if you're interested, the show How It's Made, which is a really cool show. They actually came here back in 2008. Yeah. It was for the Olympics back in 2008. Amazing how long ago that was. And they did a How It's Made special on our vaulting poles and on our javelins. So if you go to YouTube and search How It's Made javelins or How It's Made vaulting pole vault, you can watch that. It's a 5 to 10 minute. It's very neat. So cool. And it was right here. It's exactly who and how we do it here. It's authentic. It's amazing. I can't remember where I was going. Well, I still get So I still get in awe when you go back there, because I've gotten to know people, and I think back there that Ron makes the discus, right? And so I think how neat for Ron to know that like these discus go out, and he handmade all of these discus, right? Poles, Kenny in the pole room, and Bob and stuff like that. And it's like, wow, hurdles, right? Kenny's over the hurdles too. So it's like, oh my goodness, right? Hurdles just got done for a school, and you see them and you're like, we know how many hours are into it and stuff and things like that. But it's like,
how beautiful is it when we see those pictures
Right.
of them all out, brand new stuff? Those athletes have to be so excited, coaches especially, because that could be once in their
Yeah,
career.
absolutely.
And stuff. And that's really the payoff, is working on these orders, seeing the graphic part, like how they brand their school and stuff, and it all coming together. And then finally, when the last piece leaves here, and then we usually get a picture, right, of them all set up, or we get pictures during it, like, hurdles are here, we got them set up. And that's really a neat part of this. Yeah.
So I get coaches that reach out and say, do you have a job? Like, would love to work there,
Yeah.
etc. What has been, so why do you like working here? Well, I mean,
Besides you.
Yeah, let's go to the B. I know what the A answer is.
Mike Cunningham.
Working with me.
Yeah.
But B, so right after that, what do you enjoy being here at Gill?
My job part of it, I love it because it's different every day. We get different phone calls every day, different issues, different things we're working on, different meetings I get to be involved in and stuff like that. The other part is just the whole, I call this a whole team, right? From the Bob, in the pool room, to Ted, who runs shipping and stuff like that, to even manufacturing. I love equipment also. So when we get new toys out, I call them toys.
Yeah.
When we get new toys out in manufacturing, it's a celebration. People they make sure that all of us, even my customer service team, sales and stuff, get to see what we're doing,
Right.
and how this is going to help us as a corporation, as a team, make us better. How can we do this better and stuff like that? And so I really like that part of it, because it is like a big team. We all have our sections and stuff, but and I know in my position I get to play more with other parts of the team, which is fun. But really the people is what makes it. I enjoy, office is great. We have an office crew and stuff like that, but being out on the shop floor and the manufacturing floor, the people, the stories, how long some people have been here
It's
is
amazing.
amazing.
It is amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, we're at 15 and 14 roughly, you and I.
Yeah.
And we're pups.
Yeah. And just seeing all the changes, because even when I started, this place has changed probably 25 times, all for the good. But just the changes in the evolution of how we're going and where we're going, and kind of seeing where the future is going to take us and stuff. And it's really nice to know. The biggest part of that, though, is the communication from the uppers, the I can't think of what we call them.
You talking about our leadership team?
Yeah.
Like VPs and
Yeah.
such? Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Nothing's a secret, really.
Right.
And so it's very out there. How the company's doing. You don't have to worry about you showing up one day and there's a note on the door, right? Like, go home, sorry, we're closed.
Right.
And so that really lets you just do your job to the best of the ability, because there's no in the background thinking, oh no, what's happening, right? And so it's really just that part of it. It's I enjoy people I work with, even Mike Cunningham, most days. There are a few days.
I promise you I did not edit that in. That was live and recorded right there.
I said most days, though.
So how is it now that I'm not traveling because of coronavirus? I mean,
I enjoy you.
Oh.
If we took a survey, it might be different, but
Maybe.
I enjoy you. Yeah, it's sad that you're not on the road, because that means you're touching people, and that drums up things and activity and stuff like that. So that's different. But you're still doing it in your office and things like that. But I don't mind seeing your face every day.
You still haven't bought me coffee. I noticed you had a coffee on your desk this morning, and I got excited. I was like, oh, maybe.
I also had a chocolate croissant.
Hey, let me give a plug. So I used to think I knew what chocolate croissants were. I used to get, much like probably you listening right now, maybe you're a Starbucks fan, right? I'm a Starbucks fan. I got the app and the pre-loaded card or whatever, right? So I love going to get my Americano, hint, if anybody's out there that ever wants to, hook me up. But I used to, every once in a while, I would get the chocolate croissant from Starbucks, and I liked it. It was really good. I was excited one day. Jennifer and I were traveling we're doing a project just north of here, about 15, 20, not even 20 minutes. Really cool outdoor complex. You may not know about, everybody kind of knows Gill for track and field, but we also do a lot of outdoor stuff. In fact, if you're watching on YouTube, you can see I'm trying to do the thing here. Here we go. Football goals and soccer goals and all that kind of stuff. Big ball stop netting, baseball dugouts, foul poles, the whole nine. And this facility is all soccer, football, and baseball, softball. No track at all. So we're working on a huge project. And so I was excited. We went to Starbucks and we got coffee. You got some frou-frou coffee, if I remember correctly.
I tried something different. You were paying. Of course I went frou-frou.
Exactly. And I was excited. I was like, hey, let's get a chocolate croissant.
Yes.
And so we get said chocolate croissant. It was good. That's what
it was sad.
I was like, and Jennifer tells me, have you had the chocolate croissant from Panera? And I was like, no, but I mean, I'm eating this. It's good. Well, my good friend here hooked me up the very next day.
Oh yeah.
No comparison. Starbucks, I'm sorry. I'll still drink your coffee, but I'm done with your chocolate croissants. I will go over to Panera to get the chocolate croissant. So if you have a Panera near you, go get it. And it's just chocolate croissant, right? If someone goes
just a chocolate croissant.
Just go get the chocolate croissant. She likes it heated up a little bit, right?
Like 10 seconds and it makes the inside like ooey gooey.
Yeah. Now it is messy.
It is.
It's got like a chocolate drizzle with the powdered sugar, which I'm not a powdered sugar
Me
fan.
Either. They don't overdo it.
No, but it just gets everywhere.
Yeah,
even if you do a little bit. No one thought we would be recording today, and a good 15 minutes is talking about chocolate croissant. Well, maybe they would actually, like, Mike and Jennifer. Yeah, they're talking about chocolate croissants. Yeah.
Oh, they're so good.
That was so good. Get us back on track. How did we get on chocolate croissants?
I don't know.
You were here and you had coffee today. And croissant, but you did not bring me.
I did not.
It's not like her. I must be on her bad side. So, you mentioned about some of the things that you get to do that maybe aren't in your job title, meaning like we do some R&D meetings where we get to help impact and create new products or improvement to products. We're the NCAA sponsors, so we get to do the national championships every year when they occur. And just a lot, amazing athletes. We've gotten to know John Gadina, has become a good friend of ours through working here at Gill Athletics. Jeff Hartwig is it's like Jeff's not even like on this pedestal for Olympian, even though he is. Yeah. But it's like, it's Jeff.
Just Jeff. Yeah. Just Jeff. Yeah. The snake guy.
The snake guy. Yeah. What has you excited coming up as you kind of look in your crystal ball of things that are coming up that you're allowed to speak? We are under an NDA. There are some things that we can't divulge, but what are some things maybe that's got you excited? Besides working with me even more as we go to our 20th anniversary and 30th anniversary one day. We're going to hit there.
I deal with a lot of the projects, so I see them from start to finish, and I have projects that need to close out. And so, but I'm waiting for the new projects. And so those take a lot of time, but you get to know the people and who you're dealing with and help them. There's some things that people think are great and we're like, we've seen that before. Let's not do that kind of thing. And so it's very nice to kind of work through that project. I pray that NCAAs happen. That's an exciting time around here. It's a lot of work, but rewarding work. And so handling the orders, making sure it gets shipped, and all that stuff. It's a lot, but wow, I missed it. It's sad to say that it's a lot of work, but I feel like we haven't even really had a year because it's just like nothing happened. Yeah. So really getting sports back, it will change, things are good, right? But having all the sports back and stuff like that, because we do deal with volleyball and basketball and stuff like that. And so it'll be nice to actually talk to coaches again, because they're really maybe not working or not working as much and stuff like that. Yeah. And so I think just having that part, but just going back, I say normal, nothing will be normal, but just getting back to some of that. Really, sport is a huge thing for a lot of people, and for it not to have that. I have a 13-year-old at home that did not have a track season, and it changes. Like, you can see people's attitudes when they don't have something to look forward to and stuff. Now, I know there's pro sports, but it's different when your kids are out there or your neighbors' kids are out there and stuff like that. So I think it'll just be, as we work here, and we are not just sitting on our hands, during this time, we're trying to upgrade things and do stuff like that. And that's exciting. And of course, when it's about throwing implements, it's better. So just wait, you're going to see really cool things come out. But it's other things, and that kind of stuff. So. Are
you going to go to VP of R&D, Greg, and put in for a hot pink discus?
No.
Come back out with a hot pink
Actually, my signature color during when I was throwing in high school was lime green. And so, yeah.
You can't talk about that.
Why? Lime green?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, I'm not talking about that. I'm just
Okay,
saying it's lime green.
nice. She
Yeah.
almost had to edit that right out, man.
Yeah. Something cool. Lime
Something
green.
cool.
Lime green. Yay.
Well, Jennifer, you talked about a thematic part of this whole talk today was about people,
Mhm.
whether it was the people that helped you through high school, obviously Randy and the people around you at Indiana University, Marcia
Mhm.
at UCF, and then just, your awesome team, not only the customer service team, but the people that are in the offices next to you,
Yeah.
that awesome team. And you do a great job. I should say this, publicly, you do one of the better jobs I've seen of everybody, meaning going out onto the floor, seeing our welders who, day in and day out, they're welding metal for things that you buy on a daily basis.
Yeah.
It's amazing. Our fabric and foam people, they're just amazing. They do an amazing job,
Yeah.
and you do a really good job of making sure they know that they are cared for, that their job matters. You mentioned earlier that everybody kind of thinks that their job is the most important, and I believe that. When that welder is welding, man, that is the most important job that person can be doing. When the pack assembly people are putting together in boxes to ship out, that at that point is the most important part of their job. My job's done. Ain't nothing I can do at that point. Same with you. You do a great job with that. And as I've been your teammate now for going on 14 years, I just want to say thank you. It's been really, really cool to see your development. You came in a little bit of country mouse as well. It's like, I don't know who this person is. She's not going to last very long. She don't talk to me. And, since then, you and I's friendship outside of even these four walls has just blossomed. And, my family's better for it. I don't know that your family's better for knowing me, but, we're just so thankful that you are part of our team here. It was important that as we talk to coaches around the country and other behind the scenes track people, you're one of the behind the scenes track people. People don't always get to know you and get to interact with you, yet you touch a lot of products, a lot of projects. You've run all my big when I've been so, humbled to be chosen for, University of Michigan and Auburn, and now with Virginia Beach and Spokane, Louisville. I mean, the list goes on, and I always tell people, I was like, this is my right-hand man. She knows how to get things done, get it out the door. The chance of error is decreased tremendously when you're running things. If I had to run them, we'd be doing it twice. I'd mess it all up, and then we have somebody to pick up the pieces. So what you do for the sport of track and field, not just me and my career here, but not only just what we do here at Gill, but honestly for the sport of track and field, you have a huge influence, a huge positivity to it. And this was my honor to be able to share your journey so that people got to know you just a little bit. So she doesn't know I'm about to do this.
Oh, Lord.
So when this airs, if you're listening, if you're still here, we're an hour and a half in. I know the Gill Connections podcast is notorious for being the long podcast. I get it. It was all in the plan. I wanted to make sure that I didn't shortchange any one of our guests, that their entire journey had time to explore. And I'm so thankful that we got to do that with Jennifer. So if you're still here, if you've had a positive interaction with Gill Athletics for customer service, maybe you've ordered something, maybe something went wrong and we had to reship something or whatever. Again, we're not perfect. I want you to do me a favor. So our 800 number is 1-800-637-3090. I want you to call in and ask for Jennifer. Now, she's a very important person. She's our director of fulfillment, so she might be in a meeting. So just ask to go to her voicemail. But it would make me so happy if we could flood her messages with thanks. I'm a big, a lot of times if you're a regular listener, I challenge our guests on a lot of things. This time I'm going to challenge you, Mr. and Mrs. Listener. 1-800-637-3090. Let her know what just a great job her and her team, she's not one person, she has a team, has done for you and your program and your athletes. That would just tickle me pink. tickle me pink to know that happened. So you can tell if you're watching on YouTube, she's getting a little red. She's starting to match her candy stripe. Is it called candy stripes? Yeah, the candy stripes from Indiana. Just so thankful you were on the show today, man. You represented Indiana so well. You represented St. Joe so well. And as always, you represent Gill Athletics and Porter Athletics so well. So thankful for you.
Thank you.